Hello, today we will have the first lecture of our Discrete Mathematics course. We will cover two very important topics, variables and statements. These concepts are very important because every other topic we will cover in this course is built upon these two concepts. We start with the notion of variables. Keep in mind that variables are the first stepping stones of abstract mathematics. They enable us to build the abstraction layer essential to manipulating complex mathematical objects. A variable is essentially a placeholder. To illustrate this, consider asking this question. Is there a number with the following property, doubling it and adding 3 gives the same result as squaring it? In this sentence, we can introduce a variable to replace the potentially ambiguous word, it. The advantage of using a variable is that it allows you to give a temporary name to what you are seeking so that you can perform concrete computations with it to help discover its possible values. So here we introduce the variable x to add more clarity to the sentence. Now the question becomes, is there a number x with the property that 2x plus 3 equals x squared? It is also very important to not be stuck with labels. We can replace the variable x with any other label without changing the main structure and meaning of the sentence. For instance, we replace the label x with box and the question becomes: is there a number, box, with the property that 2 boxes plus 3 equals box square? The emptiness of the box can help you imagine filling it in with various values, some of which might make the two sides equal and others which might not. In this sense, a variable in a computer program is similar to a mathematical variable because it creates a location in computer memory, either actual or virtual, into which values can be placed. Let us look at this first example. In this example, we are asked to use variables to rewrite the following sentences more formally. The first sentence is, are there numbers with the property that the sum of their squares equals the square of their sum? The second sentence is, given any real number, its square is non-negative. The first thing we can do is to introduce two variables x and y. Then we can rewrite the sentence as follows: are there numbers x and y with the property that x square plus y square equals the quantity x plus y square? Or alternatively, we can rewrite the sentence as follows: are there numbers x and y such that x square plus y square equals the quantity x plus y square? We may also rewrite the sentence as follows: do there exist any numbers x and y such that x square plus y square equals the quantity x plus y square? The second question can be answered as follows. Given a real number r square is non-negative. Alternatively, we can also say, for any real number r square is greater or equal to 0. We can even say, for every real number r square is greater or equal to 0. Now let's talk about statements. In a nutshell, a mathematical statement is a sentence that is either true or false. It may contain words and symbols. For example, the square root of 4 is 5, is a mathematical statement. In fact, a statement may contain words and symbols. For instance, a statement can be fully written with just mathematical symbols. The expression sign of 2 plus 2 is greater than 3 is a statement. This is because one can compute the value of the left-hand side of the inequality and check if that value is greater than 3. In this case, the sign of 2 plus 2 is roughly 2.9. Therefore, this statement is false. If we have a sentence or expression that we cannot assert if it is true or false, that sentence is not a statement. For instance, the expression x plus 1 equals 3 is not a statement. Because the veracity of the expression depends on the value of the variable x. There are three main types of statements: universal statements, conditional statements, and existential statements. From these three main types, we will be able to construct a wide range of mathematical statements. A universal statement is a statement that is true for every element in a given set or domain. Usually, universal statements contain some variation of the words for every, for each, for all. Let us list a few examples of universal statements. All positive numbers are greater than 0. For every number x, the absolute value of x plus 1 is greater or equal to 1. For all integer n is either odd or divisible by 2. A conditional statement is a statement that can be written in the form, if p then q, where p and q are sentences. Let us review some examples of conditional statements. If n is even, then n is a multiple of 2. This is obviously a conditional statement because it fits the definition. It has the form of if p then q, where p is n is even, and q is n is a multiple of 2. Another example of a conditional statement is the following. If an equation is quadratic, then it has 2 solutions. A third example of a conditional statement is, if a real number r is positive, then the reciprocal of r is positive. A universal conditional statement is a statement that is both universal and conditional. Let us review some examples of universal conditional statements. For every animal A, if A is a dog, then A is a mammal. This is another example of a universal conditional statement. For every real number x, if x is non-zero, then x squared is positive. One of the most important facts about universal conditional statements is that they can be rewritten in ways that make them appear to be purely universal, or purely conditional. For example, the statement, for every animal A, if A is a dog, then A is a mammal, can be rewritten in a way that makes its conditional nature explicit, but its universal nature implicit. If A is a dog, then A is a mammal. In this case, the statement is rewritten as a purely conditional statement without changing its meaning. We can also write, if an animal is a dog, then the animal is a mammal. The statement can also be expressed so as to make its universal nature explicit, and its conditional nature implicit. For every dog A is a mammal. Or, all dogs are mammals. A universal existential statement is a statement that is universal because its first part says that a certain property is true for all objects of a given type, and it is existential because its second part asserts the existence of something. In this statement, the property has an additive inverse applies universally to all real numbers. Has an additive inverse, asserts the existence of something, an additive inverse, for each real number. Universal existential statements can be rewritten in various different ways, some formal and some less formal. For instance, the statement, all real numbers have additive inverses, can be rewritten as, for every real number r, there is an additive inverse for r. In this second example, we are asked to fill in the blanks to rewrite the following statement, every pot has a lid. In question 1, the statement starts as follows, all pots, then we have to fill in the blank to complete the sentence while maintaining its logical meaning. In question 2, the statement starts as follows, for every pot P, there is, then we have to fill in the blank. In question 3, the statement starts as follows, for every pot P, there is a lid L such that, then we have to fill in the blank. It is clear that, every pot has a lid, can be rewritten as all pots have lids, so the answer is, have lids. Given that we start with, for every pot P, there is. We should complete the sentence with, a lid for P. Thus, the complete sentence is, for every pot P, there is a lid for P. For the last question, the correct answer is, L is a lid for P. An existential universal statement is a statement that is existential because its first part asserts that a certain object exists and is universal because its second part says that the object satisfies a certain property for all things of a certain kind. For example, there is a positive integer that is less than or equal to every positive integer. This statement is true because the number 1 is a positive integer, and it satisfies the property of being less than or equal to every positive integer. We can rewrite the statement in several ways, some less formal and some more formal. For instance, the statement, some positive integer is less than or equal to every positive integer, can be rewritten as, there is a positive integer m that is less than or equal to every positive integer. We can also write the statement as, there is a positive integer m such that every positive integer is greater than or equal to m. Alternatively, we can also write it as follows: there is a positive integer m with the property that for every positive integer n, m is greater or equal to n. In this third example, we are asked to fill in the blanks to rewrite the following statement in three different ways. There is a person in my class who is at least as old as every person in my class. In question 1, the statement is, some, blank, is at least as old as, blank. In question 2, the statement is, there is a person P in my class such that P is, blank. In question 3, the statement is, there is a person P in my class such that P is, blank. In fact, since the original sentence is, there is a person in my class who is at least as old as every person in my class. So, we should fill the first blank with, person in my class. And we should fill the second blank with, every person in my class. The complete sentence is, some person in my class is at least as old as every person in my class. In question 2, we start the sentence with, there is a person P in my class such that P is. Therefore we should fill the blank with, at least as old as every person in my class. The complete sentence is, there is a person P in my class such that P is at least as old as every person in my class. In question 2, we start the sentence with, there is a person P in my class with the property that for every person Q in my class, P is. Therefore we should fill the blank with, at least as old as Q. The complete sentence is, there is a person P in my class with the property that for every person Q in my class, P is at least as old as Q. On this we end this lecture. Thanks for watching the video. Please do not forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We have an extensive collection of mathematics lecture notes covering all sequences of calculus, college algebra, discrete mathematics, and probability. Thanks.